and welcome to this week's Tuesday video. I am so happy that I'm finally able to sit down and film a makeup look for you all. And this is what I came up with. I figured that a nice glam look was in order. And since I've done a smoky intense black eye, that I should do something a little bit more toned down but still smoky and glam. So this is what I came up with. It's more on the brown side than the black side. Since the black shadows can be a bit intimidating, I figured that this would be really nice for anyone that doesn't want to do the black eyeshadows or that just wants something a little bit more toned down but still glam. So this is what I came up with. I'm so happy and I'm so glad that I was able to film it. I really like the way that it turned out and I hope you all do as well. If you're interested in seeing exactly how I achieved this look, then just keep on watching. Okay, so to begin, obviously after moisturizing the eyes and the face, I'm going to start with actual makeup application. I'm going to start off by using the Benefit Stay Don't Stray primer. This is a shadow and like concealer primer, but I only use it for the shadow area. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply some of that onto the lids and then just blend it out using my clean ring finger, patting that on the eyes and getting them nice and prepped. For this entire look, I am mainly going to be sticking to the Lorac Pro palette, but I am going to be grabbing the Tartelette in Bloom just for a couple of shades, like one or two shades perhaps. So from the Lorac Pro palette, I am first going to start off using the shade Taupe. Now, I feel like I need some sort of a transition, even though this is going to be a smoky eye, like I still would like to have the transition there. So I'm going to be applying it onto the transition shade area, which is the area that is located right here, right above the crease. So just swirling and buffing this color into that area using my Sigma E40 tapered blending brush. Okay, so after applying that, now I'm going to be moving on to like the brown shadows. So first I'm going to start off with Sable from this palette, and I'm simply grabbing that using my eye shading brush from Sigma. This is the E55. It's a smaller shading brush, so I want it to be smaller just to be a little bit more precise in my application. So I'm just going to be patting this, not dragging it across the lid, but more so patting it along the entire lid. And I just absolutely love this color because it's pretty deep if you grab quite a bit, but if you don't, you can blend it out to be a pretty light brown. So patting it onto my entire lid and then just stopping right along the crease. Okay. So in between applications is when I'm going to be blending, and I'm simply going to be blending using my Sigma E25 blending brush. And I'm going to be blending along the crease. I want everything to look seamless and really well combined. So now I'm going to go back in with Sable again and pat that onto the lid once more. Now after applying a couple of layers of the Sable shade, I'm going to move on now to an even deeper shade. This is Espresso from the palette. So just grabbing a tad bit of that and applying it further down. But this shade I am not taking all the way to the crease. I'm simply going to leave it right along the lid and right before the crease and then just blending it out right after. And then just taking my blending brush after that and blending out the edges. Every time I use this palette, I wonder why I don't use it more. It is such an oldie but goodie for me. And that I'm just going to do the one time. Okay, so at this point, the eye is pretty much done at the top. You don't have to really do a whole heck of a lot else to it. But last time I wore it, I just didn't feel like it looked brown enough to me. Like I thought some of the brown was lost after adding the espresso color because it is so deep. So I love the shade Firecracker from the Tartelette in Bloom palette, and I decided to add some of that onto the lid and it looked really, really good. So I'm going to do that again for you all today so that you can see it in action. And just adding that onto my lid with my index finger. I just love what that does to the eye. I love what it looks like after. And then I'm just going to simply just blend out any of the edges. Okay, so now moving on to some false lashes before cleaning the under eye area and moving on to the rest of the face. So these are the Vegas Nay Shining Star Lashes. I love the fact that they're really lightweight, they're not uncomfortable to wear, they are really easy to apply, and they stand out really, really nicely. So okay, so now while we wait for these guys to dry, I'm going to go ahead and just clean off the under eye area. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and re-moisturize the under eye area. And now we can move on to the rest of the face. I'm going to cover up my pores, or fill them in rather. Just going to do that by taking some of this Professional Pro Balm from Benefit, grabbing that with my fingers and just pressing the product into my skin. Next, I am going to be color correcting. I'm going to be color correcting with my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. And since I can't find my angled precision brush, I'm going to be using the round one instead. This one is the Sigma P82. And just applying some of that color corrector with this brush onto the under eye area. Next, for foundation, I'm going to be using the Milani Conceal Plus Perfect foundation and just applying that onto my face using my finger and then blending it out using my damp beauty blender. Okay, so now that I'm done with foundation, time to conceal using my one and only True Love Tarte Shape Tape. Applying that, and I actually am going to be highlighting my nose. Now I'm going to blend it all out. It's amazing what this concealer can do. I don't like the shininess under my eye, which is the only reason why I am going to be setting this concealer, but it's such an amazing concealer that you truly do not even need to set it. Okay, so now that I am done with concealer, I'm going to be moving on to brows. For this, I'm going to be using the Brow Beater from Urban Decay in the shade Dark, and just simply using this in order to shape and fill in my brows. Okay, and now just setting them with some clear brow gel. Okay, so now I am going to be returning to the eyes to finish those up. So grabbing my Pro palette once again, I'm going to be grabbing my flat definer brush from Sigma. This is their E15. I'm just going to be grabbing Sable and applying that onto my lower lash line. Okay, and if you just leave it like this, it's just gonna be like a black line or a dark line underneath the eye. You want it to look nice and blended out and smoked out. So now I'm going to be grabbing the shade Taupe with a pencil brush, tapping off the excess and blending that shade out underneath the eye. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna go in with my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Black Bean and apply that along the waterline. And then I'm going back with my pencil brush and just blending that out in between. Okay, so now that the eyes are pretty much done, it's time for some mascara. And just adding some of that to the top lashes so that I can combine my false lashes with my real lashes. And of course, add some to my bottom lashes as well. Okay, now to move on to the rest of the face. So for bronzing, I am going to grab my favorite, my Benefit Hoola Bronzer. Just applying that onto the cheek area, swirling it upward. Okay, and then moving on to blush. For today's look, I'm going to be using Milani's Luminoso Baked Blush. Just applying that into the cheek area. For a highlight, I have been absolutely obsessed with the Maybelline Master Contour Face Kit. So I'm going to be applying that onto the tops of my cheeks. Whenever I'm applying it onto the tops of my cheeks, I start at the top and then I just bring it down. So that way any light that hits my cheek, like, it's going to get highlight. And I personally also like to apply it onto the bridge of my nose a little bit. Okay, so now onto the lips. For lips, I am going to be combining a lip liner and a lipstick in order to make like a custom shade on the lips. To line and fill my lips, I'm using Bella Pierre Cosmetics Gel Lip Liner, and this one is in the shade Cinnamon. See, but this is way too dark for this type of a look. I mean, unless you want like a dark lip with a dark eye, like that's totally fine. But for this one, don't. I wanted to do something lighter. And so I'm going to be applying MAC's Creme de Nude. So this creates kind of like my perfect nude because I can never find any nudes that look really nice on my skin tone. They usually look really white, really ashy. My lips just don't, it just doesn't look good. And so when I do this lip liner and lipstick combination, and that completes the look for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial and that you found it helpful. As always, take care and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.